Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. Last time we had discussed, in fact, two subjects, not one, but more than discussion. I had left the questions because I myself wanted to understand. So I had left questions and with a request to kindly conduct your own research, and if you come out with any addition or criticism, that will be welcome. Out of those two subjects today, I think I'll be able to take up only one, and I'll try to complete, but I don't think it depends upon the discussion. Last time, after the discussion, I received certain queries. Brother Masood Murtaza sent an email, and he raised a very important question about mutashabihat and muhkamat. And the query was whether mutashabihat could be standalone, and similarly the muhkamat. And then brother Dr. Mandu Salama also raised a very important question, rather an observation, that by saying that all the ayat are muhkamat, it has implications for declaring all the ayat as mutashabihat. So I thought that then I may have to go into the second layer, the second depth of the discussion, because at that time I had not gone into the depth of discussion. I had simply left questions. So I'll try my best to cover these aspects. These are the ayat which are under discussion. A set of ayat, ayat number 1 to ayat number 8 of Surah Al-Imran. And within that, we are not discussing all the 8, but just mainly ayat number 3 and ayat number 7. Because I had, and I believe that we cannot interpret ayat number 7 without discussing it in conjunction with ayat number 3. So I'll mostly concentrate on these two ayat and then their explanations. The ayat is before you, ayat number 3. Nazzala alayka al-kitaba bil-haq, nazzala. And then musaddiqan lima bayna yadayhi, the book has been sent to you in truth for the attestation, verification, as in standard for whatever of the revelation, previous revelation, remains with you. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala further clarifies it. Wa anzala Tawrat wal Injil, but here instead of word nazala, anzala has been used. And then Allah is pointing out particularly to Tawrat and Injil that they were also revealed on the timeline, anzala. And then we come to ayat number, as I said, I'm not discussing all the ayat because it will take a lot of time. I'm coming to ayat number 7. And here again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reiterating that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the one, same God who had revealed the Torah, who had revealed Injil, who had revealed the previous revelations. He's emphasizing Huwa, Allazi. And then he is now saying, Anzal alayka al-kitab. Before that, it was Nazal alayka al-kitab. This refers to the whole book. But when it says Nazal, it's very emphatic. It came for implementation. And on the timeline of history, Anzal alayka al-kitab, same words otherwise. And then instead of Fihi, it's Minhu. It doesn't say that Fihi ayatun muhkamatun. Out of that book, ayat are muhkamat, and then emphasis is hunna, those ayat which have been revealed in the book to you. Anzala alayka al-kitab, out of that there are ayat which are muhkamat, and they are ummul kitab, not others, not from Torah, not from Injil, those ayat which have been revealed to you in the book which has been sent to you, hunna, they are the Kitab, they are the standard, they are the foundational. And then this word I had emphasized in 2 lectures, that is the key word in this ayat, which in fact leads us to interpret ayat mutashabihat. What is the meaning of ukhar? And I had explained it. I'll today go to the lexicon to show it more. Prior, it does not mean in the series the last, which comes at the end. It is the last of the previous one, last of the previous earlier, the prior one. So ukhar mutashabihat. If we miss ukhar, then we will not be able to understand mutashabihat. Ukhar, prior ayat which have been revealed in Torah and Injil, they are mutashabihat. Ukhar. If the reference was to the ayat in the Quran, that they are also mutashabihat, then it was simple to say that there are ayat muhkamat wa mutashabihat. Very simple. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would bring in such a language that there are minhu ayat muhkamat hunna kitab wa ukhar? Why all this thing? If it was simply as being translated that there are ayat muhkamat and mutashabihat in Quran, then simply Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have said it that there are ayat muhkamat wa mutashabihat fi Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not want to create any confusion. He has said something which requires understanding. Understanding Quran requires thinking, not any degree. It requires thinking. So what is that? That I will explain again. And then another word here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pointing out that when they discuss with you, when they follow up, yatabun, they play another trick. That is, they don't discuss with you mutashabihat. In contrast or in comparison to muhkamat, they rather go to tashabah only. Ma tashabah minhu. Those who have some zagh in their mind, they just discuss the tashabah out of that. Not even the mutashabihat, all the ayat which are mutashabihat. Now the entire ayat which is mutashabah, but they just discuss with you the tashabah. And then here ibtagha has been used twice and refers to fitna and tawil. Ibtagha is not accusative, it's accusative, it's object. They are themselves the object of the situation where they are, in fact, as I can say, if I can use that word, that they are the victims of the situation, that the people who claim themselves to be the scholars, they have created a situation that these people are led into a situation that they are as objective. Because of taqleed, blind taqleed, they start following it. This is ibtagha is object, not subject. Ibtagha. I've shown that. I'll again show that. And then who can understand? It doesn't say that nobody can understand. It refers to ma ya'lam. Ya'lam is a third person, mazara, present, future. It covers. They don't know. Ya ma ya'lam. They don't know. Who don't know? Who the people who are in under discussion. Who are they? Those who are ibtagha. Why? They are, because they are following tashabah. Who follow the tashabah, they, yalam, ma yalam, they are not able to understand. They don't know. They don't know ilm. Who knows? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that Allah knows, and the people who are rasikhun fil ilm, who are ingrained, grounded in the sciences, and then there is a criteria. Not saying the being grounded in the sciences in ulum, that they have iman. Once they say that we believe, they believe in all, whether muhkamat or mutashabah. This is all from God. This is the basic criteria. And then after believing, they also introspect. Yatazakkar, introspection. They do fikr in it, introspection. Zikr in it. Zikr is not on rosary. Zikr into it. Yazakkar. And who are those people who can do that, or who they do that? Who are those people who conduct this exercise? They are ulul albab. They are the people who understand. This is very clear. And then there is the dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, once you have given us the ilm, then kindly don't make our minds waver. Now we come to explaining. I'll try to explain the mutashabihat, and then before that, sorry, before that, let us see whether at any other place these words muhkamat, mutashabihat have been used. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, Allah nazzala asanal hadith. Even for hadith from God, that is narration, that is statement. This is revelation. The revelation, hadith, which covers the events, the eventful narrations. Musa's story, Qasas al-Quran, Qasas al-Anbiya. These things are hadith from God. These are the events, narration, history. What is hadith? Hadith is that statement which deals with the event in the history. This is hadith. Allah nazzala asan al-hadith kitaban. Kitaban is accusative. He has sent those events, statements of those events, expressions of those events as kitaban. In this kitab, as kitaban. That is also part of kitab. That is kitab. As kitaban, it is accusative. It is not subjective, subjunctive. Kitaban, and then it clarifies what is mutashabiha. Kitaban as mutashabihan. Kitaban, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells in these ayahs that Torah is kitab. Injil is kitab. All together are kitab. Kitab has been sent to the Prophet also, our Prophet, peace be upon him, the mercy of the worlds. So here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pointing out that these events of history have been narrated to you as book, in the book, and they are identical, similar. They have similarities. These are not the exact translations, identical and similar. These are not. I'll explain that. They have similarities in Torah, in Injil, and then sent in Quran. But once they have been sent in Quran, they are final. They are Muhakkim. They are standard. They are eternal. They are immutable. No word or syllable can be changed in Quran. Previously, they have edited it. And then Masani, they have been repeated. Not only that there are similarities, but you will find that there are repetitions to strengthen the statement, to bring out other aspects. It's not the rhetoric in the sense that it's just repetition. It's not repetition in that sense. It's a rhetoric in the sense of re-emphasizing the point. A rhetoric, I have been emphasizing, is a separate subject which every leader in the West, all politicians, all leaders, they study this subject. It is a course, and it is a subject in law also. Without this, nobody can qualify. Interpretation of statute, it is a subject. And that is for the higher judiciary, the judges of Supreme Courts, and they must be ingrained in that. So this refers to that those not only they have similarities, but they are repetitive, so that emphasize different angles and layers of meaning. Now this is the ayat where it is, I brought it. Now I'll try to explain where we make the mistake in understanding mutashabihat and then we form our opinions. It is mutashabiha does not refer to any statement which is referring to the sameness or something similar, as for example, say, Ma'in anzalnahu minas samai. Look at the phenomenon of God. How water has been sent down as water. When it evaporates, goes up, it becomes ice as -40. It should become ice as -40. It goes up to that level, but it remains water. It comes down as water. Otherwise, it freezes at 0. But it is not freezing, even at -40. How? As it is pointing out to certain things which have to be seen there. So in mutashabihat are not referring to ka. And then mutashabihat are not referring to the misl. We have to segregate. What are the ayat which are explaining ka, and what are the ayat which are explaining misl? Misl is not mutashabihat. What is misl? It is the example in material. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using same ka and misl for his example, he is referring to that nothing, there is nothing like him in essence, in material, in essence, and there is nothing like him in attribute. Ka refers to attribute and misl refers to material. Mutashabih is not dealing with that subject. It's totally different. And then shibh, shabah, and shubh. Same root. Mutashabihat are not dealing with just the appearance and features. It is not dealing with shabah, the resemblance. It is not dealing with the shubha, the doubt. What it is dealing with? It is dealing with tashabah. Tashabah, it is, what is that tashabah? Tashabah does not mean similar, it means similarity. When we are translating in English or in Urdu or in any other language, we have to fully understand the word in that language also. When you pick up any word, because in that language, that word has its own connotations, its own meanings, and its own perspective. We just pick up a word and we just insert in the translation. It's not similar, but similarity, tashabah. And from tashabah is the mutashabihat. So what are mutashabihat? Mutashabihat are those having similarities, not similar. They are not same, they are not similar, they are not just because of resemblance, they are not as, not ka, and they are not, there is no doubt, it's not because of the doubt it's being mentioned. All these things we have to understand while analyzing it. Then what is mutashabihat? Further, I'm trying to explain because crucial questions have been raised. Similarities, not similar, do not just mean the resemblance. I'm clarifying, not shubha, shibha, but having similarities in what? Similarities in word, similarities in phrase, similarities in sentence, in statement, in segment, and similarities as ayat. For example, there are 2 ayat similar for Hazrat Yahya alayhi salam and Hazrat for Isa alayhi salam, about their death, about the resurrection. But we differently interpret for Isa alayhi salam that he will come back, but we don't interpret the same word, same ayat for Yahya alayhi salam. He will not come back. Why? Same ayat. So here, ayat has also to be seen as whole. And then the mazmoon. What is the mushabihat in mazmoon? It's not a simple subject. You have to see the word, the phrase, the sentence, the ayat, the mazmoon, and mutatabikat. I'll show you. It's not my thing. This is just based on simple, humble research, and you conduct your own research, and so on. I'll show these things. But maybe at this point, I show you one more. I'll share one more slide with you, and maybe that clarifies the point. I'm sharing one more slide with you, and then I'll come back to this. I'm sharing new slide, and new slide is this one. I hope I can share this. No, it's here. I brought only 2 folders, just 2 folders. For example, I show you one folder only, and you see how many folders are there within this folder. So far, I have brought only 176, but there are more than 300. And I said in the beginning, there are four categories. And in 4 folders, there are more folders. And within those folders, I just give you an example that what is there. For example, surah wise, look at this. There are further files. There are files. There's a main folder, then there are four categories, and within this, there's classification, and within that, there are files, and within each file, there are number of ayat. And total will come to about more than 2,000. I have not exactly counted. What is that? There is a lot of research work which has taken place. But in translations, what we are doing, you listen to any khatib in the masjid. I'm not criticizing, but this is painful. And ask him that when he came for delivering the lecture, what is the latest book which he has read on this? 1,000 years back. Not today. Has anybody read the literature which has changed after 9/11? Robert Crane, who was advisor to Bush administration at that time, he has written on Quran. And it's wonderful. How many people in this way have become Muslim? Advisor to Bush becoming Muslim, writing on Quran. Read Esposito. These are just an example. For example, we are committing another mistake. When we, for example, discuss Asad, Muhammad Asad, a great scholar, great translation. But when you are reading Asad, you are reading one line. Asad Abduhu Zamakhshari. This is one line. You are not reading three. It is just one line. When you are reading Maulana Maududi, you are reading the line in line with Sayyid Qutb Shahid. When you are reading, for example, Arnold or Arbery or even Marmaduke, they are in line with the Orientalists which came up during the period of colonialism. Now, if you read all these, you find a big difference now how Quran is being interpreted by Crane, by Sidi, who is working in United States, United Nations. He is the main interpreter of Arabic there. So we have to keep pace with the research. What is this? I have downloaded, collected the ayat on which the researchers may be wrong, totally wrong. You don't agree with them. They have classified mutashabihat. I'm coming back, thousands, there are thousands. I'm coming back to share with you the same slide which we were discussing. And there I will show that what they have done. They have done classified these ayat on the basis of similarities in word, similarities in phrase, similarities in sentence, similarities in ayat, similarities in mazmoon, similarities in mutatabikat, and so on. And there are thousands. It's not just one. And these folders I've shown you. If I expand this, this is in itself a big research. And then I'll clarify it further because question has been raised and then I have to answer. Otherwise, I had not gone into these details if you recall last time. It does not mean mutashabih. Tashabah does not mean just the same or the mirror image. It's not the same or the mirror image. Then what it is? Let us go to further understand it. It does not, I repeat it, and Allah may accept it. It does not mean allegory. You see people how they have very lightly said that these are allegories. Ayat mutashabah, these are allegories. What is allegory? That entails interpretation or allusion to disguise. If you want to disguise something, you don't want to reveal the truth, you use allegory. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why should he disguise the things which he is revealing to us to understand? And he's all the time asking tafakkur, tadabbur, tazakkur. He has sent Quran to us to understand, to read it, not to get confused. We said it's confused. We don't understand. We can't understand. Nobody can understand it. These are written interpretations which we read. It's not like that. Allah has sent it, read it. He said, I made it easy for you. Laqad yasarna al-Quran. Many times repeating in the same surah. Hal min mudakkir. Is there anybody who can just think into it? Hal min mudakkir. That's the only requirement. And we say we can't understand. We don't understand. And then what they say, entails interpretation or allusion to disguise. And then what is another word which we are using? It does not, and I repeat, does not mean metaphor. What is metaphor? It is a mistranslated word, and then we're fighting on the translated word. What is the meaning of metaphor? As a word or phrase, metaphor is applied to an object or action to which it is not literally applicable. When coffee is not applicable to the translation of tea, and I translate it as tea, just because it is hot, I say it's coffee. Just because it's black, I say it's coffee. It does not apply. Then we use a metaphor. In English, we have to understand the lexicography of that word in that language in which we are translating before translating it. It's not just picking up one word and translating it. To show how two things that are not alike but appear similar. This is metaphor. Then how can we say that one ayat is metaphor of another? How we can say that is allegory of another? Quran's ayat of Quran are Muhakkim. Mutashabih, covering similar events, similar mazameen, similar statements in Torah and Injil, they are mutashabih. Because they are not in original form, they have been edited, and in these ayat, 3 read with 7, 7 read with 3 is talking about referring to the book which covers both Injil and Torah. We can't go out of context and discuss it totally out of context. Ayat 3 is talking about Torah and Injil. And then, in addition, what is the injustice which we are doing to Quran? In addition, whether interpreted as allegory or metaphor, another layer of ignorance is being added. What is that? It is that they are further wrongly declared as ineffable. We can't understand. Nobody can understand. No human being can understand. Wrongly declared as ineffable. And what is the meaning of ineffable? Incapable of expression. They say, we can't express it even. We can't understand it even. This is the mistake which Jews did. Then undescribable, unspeakable. Jews said, you cannot utter the word of God. You cannot say Jehovah. They say, you say he. You can simply say the one, but you cannot say Jehovah. You cannot say Allah. You cannot say Yahoo. And they invented another word, tetragrammaton, the word which has 4 letters, tetragrammaton. So they would say that I'm referring to the one who has 4 letters in his name, tetragrammaton. Instead of saying God, they would say tetragrammaton. And here we have done the same thing, e.g. ineffable name of Jehovah. In the past, for a long time, for thousands of years, for hundreds of years, more than 1,000 years. In addition, what we did, the debate raged, people fought and killed each other. People fought over the concept of abrogation, that this ayat has been abrogated. Any ayat which was not understood, it is abrogated. And now, even today, we continue, any ayat which is not understood, it is mutashabih, beyond our comprehension. We can't understand. Look at this Az-Zahak, he's explaining. It's not my explanation. He says, what are muhkamat? He is explaining a muhkamat as what have been, he explained muhkamat as what have not been abrogated. Only that portion of Quran which has not been abrogated, according to him, it is muhkam. Can we believe this? Now we say no, there's no abrogation. After Waliullah, after Shah Waliullah. Now we agree that no, there's no abrogation. There's no abrogation. But he says that only those ayat which are muhkamat, they are not abrogated. And he goes on to say, and mutashabihat, I've given it in inverted commas from Taj al-Urus. And mutashabihat are those what have been abrogated. Half of Quran is abrogated. More than half of Quran is abrogated. Any ayat which is not understood, abrogated. Mutashabih, declared mutashabih. He is explaining muhkamat and mutashabih. Can we accept this today? Now let us go further. Mutashabih, by virtue of similarities, not being similar, by virtue of similarities refers to what? Some other segment. Mutashabih is not standalone. Now I'm referring to the question which is raised by brother Masood Murtaza, who is very intellectually, and I really appreciate that he encapsulates his ideas and explanations in just one word, in one ayah, one sentence. He has so much grasp on the language that I really benefit from him. He has raised this question, that is why I'm replying to that. Refers to some other segment of ayahs. Mutashabih is not standalone. It has always to be seen with reference to the muhkamat, because of attestation required. Why? Musaddiqan lima bayna yadayhi. It has to be verified. So mutashabih is not standalone. Mutashabih from Torah. If there is anything in Torah which is mutashabih, it has to be attested in Quran. If there is anything mutashabih in Injil, it has to be attested from the ayat, from Quran, which is muhkam. Here I may clarify one thing more. This explanation I am giving only and only with reference to the explanation of ayat 7 in conjunction with 3. But when we come out of that and we discuss only these ayat within Quran, then I have already told you and shown you that there are thousands of efforts made by people that, and they have tried to find the mutashabihat ayat to each other within Quran, and they also have to be tested with the ayat muhkamat within Quran. And I've shown you that they have tried to classify on the basis of mazmoon, on the basis of its meaning, and so many things, and they are in thousands. Then that is why I say that mutashabih is not standalone. And mutashabih in the Quran, this again I'm quoting, mutashabih in the Quran is that of which the meaning is not to be learned from its words. If there is, we are referring to any ayat, if we classify in research that this ayat is mutashabih with another ayat in the Quran, not with Torah, not with Injil, it is mutashabih. Now we are coming to Quran, which is mutashabih with another ayat in Quran. As I said, there are two words, two ayat about Hazrat Yahya alayhi salam and Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, which are similar, which have similarities. Meaning is not to be learned from its words only. And the meaning is known by referring it to what is termed muhakkim. What is termed muhakkim in Quran. This is the methodology. And then muhakkim, that is why, therefore, muhakkim could stand alone. Allah, in this ayat number 1, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is starting the discussion with ayat muhakkim. Allah, la ilaha illahu, al-hayyul qayyum. It's muhakkim. We don't have to verify this with any mutashabih in Torah or Injil or even in Quran. All other ayat which we consider mutashabih, they have to be verified with reference to these ayat which are muhkam. Allah is one. Allah is the Lord. Asma'ul Husna, all muhkam. Then, or could be these muhkam could be a source for mutashabih for comparison. Mutashabih, muhkam can work as the source for comparison, for verification and attestation of anything which you feel is mutashabih. Then don't translate it in hurry. Don't run through. Wait. Verify it, attest it with the muhkam. refer to the clarity or attestation for tasdeeq. The standard for tasdeeq, musaddiqan lima bayna yaday, is the muhakkim, not mutashabih, not tashabih. And don't do it on the basis of tashabih, on the basis of whole mutashabih, not tashabih. Arabic is a scientific language, it's a wonderful language. You use meme, put kasar, fatah on the meme, it becomes adverb, place, masjid, place. You put a kasar, miftah, miswak, it becomes an instrument. Meme, you put dhamma, it becomes participle, mutashabih. So there is huge difference even in the, because of the kasar and fatah. We have to be careful in that regard. So we are not comparing only the tashabih, but mutashabih. Then here, attestation can only be with reference to muhakkim and not between mutashabih. We cannot attest mutashabih with a mutashabih. We can attest mutashabih only with muhakkim, with the standard. And I had given an example. There are nations in the world who have preserved their constitutions in the original language. And whenever there is dispute in the interpretation, they refer to the original. And Quran, Allah is asking, Quranun Arabian, Lisanan Arabian. You can't compare it with any translation, with any other book, only with the Arabic of the Quran itself. You must have seen in the courts, you must have seen some statements in the court. For example, why the maxims, legal maxims of law in Latin and Greek are not translated in English. They are only interpreted in English. They are explained in English. Even today, if a person writes, explains to the judge that this case is covered under aldi altum partum, he will say it's here the maxim of aldi altum partum applies. He will not say that this case is covered under the right of hearing. Yes, it refers to the right of hearing. That you have the right of hearing before the judge. One cannot be punished before a hearing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the right of hearing to Adam alayhi salam. First asked him, Adam, what did you do? Didn't I tell you, don't go near this shajaratan? This is aldi altum partum. The translation, the right of hearing, is not the complete translation. Even till today, nobody has been able to translate these maxims properly in one word. And we say that we have translated the Quran in one word. No, it's not possible. It's only the interpretation, only the ta'wil, only the explanation. That basic reference will always remain in Arabic. And Arabic of the Quran, Lisan al-Quran, not the Lughat al-Quran, Lisan al-Quran. So here, mutashabih cannot be compared with mutashabih. It will be compared only with muhakkim ayat of the Quran as the Lisan al-Arab, not any other thing. And then, if you want, still there's a need to explain these words word by word. I have the material on each, and these are lexicons. These are references. I'm just showing to you that the discussion is not based upon my own conjecture. It is all based on the compilation. I don't know anything. I really tell you sincerely, I just try to collect, collate, compile, present before you to agitate your minds. Think into it. Come to Quran, have friendship with it. Massa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, those people who have massa with Quran, who are mutatahhirin, who are clear in their mind, clean in their mind, have friendship, intimacy with Quran. And these are just the explanations of those words which I have mentioned. And this is the material which is available. It is not, what is ijtihad? Ijtihad is not just giving an explanation by reading one book, one dictionary. Ijtihad is when you exhaust, I'm repeating, all the resources or sources which are available on the subject. If anybody tomorrow brings another book, another reference, another source, that this research has taken place in Guatemala, and I have not read that, I'm not mujtahid, I have not based my research on that, I'll say, I don't know. I'm deficient to that extent. I'll still go into that. Mujtahid is one who exhausts all their resources to bring out his research and give his opinion based on that. This is ijtihad. But what is the ijtihad which we are doing? I read a book and I make a speech. And book 1,000 years back. Now then, these are all references of the words which I mentioned and I've highlighted and I have given before you. But if anybody, there will be a question, I'll try to answer. And this was the basic question I had raised on the first day, that can we interpret ayat number 7 without discussing it in conjunction with ayat number 3? This was the question, and this was also the question. I raised these questions before you, Lisanan Arabian. I'll raise these questions. I've given this as an exercise, and what is the purpose, all these things. I'm not repeating, just for exposing that there is a background to our discussion and this research. And still I say, Allah may forgive me if I've made any mistake, if I've not been able to collect all this material on this, and Allah may guide me. It is His bayan. His bayan will continue. This is not the last one. There is no last translation of Quran. Quran will continue to be interpreted in the light of the information and research which will be becoming available on the timeline of history. Even if the world continues for a billion years, it will continue to be translated, one book, eternal, in the light of the information which will become available there at that time. And we are just trying in the light of the information which we have today. And not all, I have not been able to bring all. I confess, that is why I say I don't know. I don't understand. So there's a lot of references, a lot of, I think, examination. So I leave it here. And if there is any addition, any guidance, any criticism, I'll really appreciate it. Allah may help us and help us to say what He wants us to say. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzat amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك اللهم لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت فإنك يا ربنا تقضي بالحق ولا يقضى عليك. اللهم ادخلنا برحمتك في عبادك الصالحين. اللهم اخرجنا من ظلمات الجهل والوهم إلى نور العلم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم اجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. اللهم اكفنا بحلالك عن حرامك وبطاعتك عن معصيتك وبفضلك عن من سواك. اللهم بفضلك ورحمتك على كلمة الحق والدين. اللهم انصر الإسلام وعز المسلمين يا أكرم الأكرمين. Oh Allah, spread your mercy upon us, shower us with your blessing, increase our knowledge, grant us your forgiveness, and reward us with the company of the prophets in the Firdaus al-A'la. Oh Allah, forgive our parents and all our friends and relatives who have passed away. Oh Allah, make their graves guarded from heaven and be grand in the Firdaus al-A'la. Oh Allah, we have several of our friends and relatives who are sick. Oh Allah, we have our son Maharaj, our daughter Aisha Wani, and the others who are sick. Oh Allah, grant all of them full and speedy recovery. Oh Allah, guide our children, protect them, and make them righteous. Oh Allah, we seek all of the good from you, whether we do it or we don't. And we seek your refuge from all evil, whether we know it or we don't. Oh Allah, we ask you every name you have elected for yourself, that none of us leave this gathering, but his pains have been relieved, his worries have been removed, his debts have been paid, his weaknesses have been concealed, his sins have been forgiven, and his needs have been fulfilled. Subhanallah wa bihamdih, adada khalqih wa rida nafsih wa zinata arshih wa midada kalimatih. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسلين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.